So a pipe bursts in the William Penn Union out at the University of Pittsburgh. The temperature is bitter, bitter cold. We're talking in the teens, in the single digits, and in some cases below zero. This morning has been hell for me, Brian Crawford. The students at Pitt with the Union pipe bursting, yeah, it's closed until this morning, but big deal. My pipe froze. I, Brian Crawford, master of the Millville Shore, had to forego an early morning shower and take a late morning shower so I could meander down to Family Dollar to buy a new one. Let me tell you how the story went. I woke up. The water wasn't running. My roommate decided that it wasn't an issue that he needed to handle right away, so he went to bed. I had to handle the situation, so I call Family Dollar, and Sherry answers the phone, and Sherry's wonderful. She's like one of the best employees at the Family Dollar here in Millville. So she answers the phone, and she immediately knows, upon me speaking to her, that my pipes burst. She goes, "Oh, honey, your pipes burst," as soon as I ask her for a hairdryer. So she then tells me exactly where to go to get it in the store, so I hang up the phone, and I go on my way. Welcome to River Talk. This is the River's Edge Radio Network, Pittsburgh's voice for local music. I'm here by myself for a few minutes because we had some technical difficulties in yesterday's Facebook Live stream in the evening. So for today's morning edition, I'm going solo for the first few minutes of today's program. During today's program, Michael Cohen will be joining me, and he had some interesting comments in regards to my story about the pipe freezing, but unfortunately those have gone to the wind because the audio wasn't working early in the morning. But that's okay. I still have the story for you. It was a great story. I leave the house that morning. I go to Family Dollar, and some bum on the side of the road decides to ask me for cash. And if I had cash, I probably would have given him some. But he's there, and he yells at me, "Hey, do you have a few bucks?" And I shout, I say over to him, "No, I don't have any cash." And then he says, "I didn't ask for any cash. I said, Happy New Year." I play along, "Okay, Happy New Year to you." And he gets real confrontational about not asking me for money, that he said Happy New Year's. And I'm just going, okay, sure, whatever. And then he proceeds to tell me how has a hard time hearing. He's partially deaf and sputters off a few other things. And I tell him, well, I have perfect hearing, and you definitely asked me for a couple dollars. So I go on my way. I go to Family Dollar. I find the hair dryer I'm looking for, and I find a few other items. And as I leave the store, guess who comes in, watching me carry out a bunch of things that I just purchased with my debit card? Oh, yes, it's the guy who was asking for cash. So that's how my morning went, and then I ended up getting the thing unthawed, and I got my shower, which, when it gets to these Arctic temperatures, the only thing that can warm you up is a warm, nice, comfortable shower. And it is hell when you do not have that to fall back on, and you have to bundle up, and it just doesn't do the trick. No matter how... See, they always say whenever you're in the cold, you can always add more layers. Well, that's not true. Once you're cold, and no matter what you do, you're not going to warm back up. You're not going to warm back up. However, in the summertime, when it's hot, when it's balmy out, when it's humid, you can always take clothes off, baby. And you've always got AC. As I said, this is the River's Edge Radio Network. You're listening to riversedgepgh.com, Pittsburgh's voice for local music. I'm Brian Crawford. With me in a few minutes, we will have Kevin Saftner, who is talking about a new establishment that he is managing as far as the booking goes out in the South Side. It is called the Stage at Karma. I'm very excited to talk about that. Everyone thought Kevin Saftner would disappear, but no, he's back, and he's back with a new venue in the South Side. It's very exciting. Michael Cohen will be joining me as well. We'll have Zach Fell behind the board as things continue this morning. Again, I am Brian Crawford on the River's Edge Radio Network, and as we are suffering the cold here in western Pennsylvania and along the northeast of the United States of America, people in Sydney, Australia are bitching and moaning about the heat. Would you trade me, please? They are having their hottest day in, I believe they said 30 years at 116 degrees Fahrenheit. 116 degrees in Sydney, -1 here in Pittsburgh. It's bitter cold. Today it's warmed up a little bit this morning, but when this show aired originally last night, freezing. And I was on Facebook the other day posting a screenshot of my phone. You know how you can pick up your phone, and if you have Google, you can ask Google for the weather. If you've got the iPhone, you can ask Siri. You can be like, hey, Google, what's the weather? Well, it pops up and it shows you the temperature for the day, and it shows you the high, the low. You can click tomorrow. You can click 10 days. So I clicked the day, and it shows 1 degree. And I posted on Facebook with a crying emoji, which, you know me, I'm not big into the emojis, but I broke down, did the crying emoji, posted it on Facebook, and then a coworker from work posts his screenshot. He says, I have you beat. It's -1. And I'm like, okay, so you took a screenshot now. That's fine. But then my aunt from Florida has the audacity to post a screenshot of the weather in Florida at a brisk 40 degrees with a crying face of her own as if she's suffering along with me. I'm sorry, Aunt Sandy, I love you, but you just moved from this cold, frigid hell to Florida. Please do not torture me with your 40 degrees. I would kill right now for 40 degrees. Everyone in Florida is bitching about the weather because it's 40 degrees. Please, give me a break. Never complain to a Northeasterner about the cold weather when you live in Florida. Please, keep it to yourself. We don't want to hear it. We don't care. I would kill for 40 degrees. I would kill for 116 degrees. Please, please, give me back that 116 degrees. Michael Cohen is back. He's back from his shopping spree. I know he's the biggest Christmas guy around, so he's going to be back in studio, back from the holidays, back from the hustle and bustle of the holidays. And it's kind of weird because I remember last year I worked so many hours that I had to take a leave of absence on the show. And here I am now, back in studio. I have not missed a single week. I think there was 1 week I missed, and that's it. That's pretty impressive for me in the situation that I unfortunately am in with my work, where you never know what kind of hours you're going to deal with. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited that I did not miss a step, and I'm excited for 2018 because we've got some great stuff in store for you. Do not miss it. We're going to transition from this Monday morning intro that I have provided for you into our interview with Kevin Saftner, who was the former owner and manager of James Street Gastropub and Speakeasy, with his new venue, announcing it right here for the first time. This is the first time he has spoken to the press on the issue. Breaking news right here on River Talk, on the River's Edge Radio Network. That's why you come here. That's why you come to Pittsburgh's voice for local music, the River's Edge, because you know you'll get it. If you don't get it first, which you'll get it first today, but you'll always get it best. The home for music in Pittsburgh, the River's Edge. Kevin Saftner, right now. Well, right now, we have some really exciting news because we actually have Kevin Saftner in studio. He is the former owner and manager of the James Street Gastropub and Speakeasy, but today he has a new venue that he is going to be revealing. I think, is this the first, Kevin, is this the first media coverage that you've gotten on the stage at Karma?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. This is the very first time. We announced the venue about 24 hours ago, so yeah, we're getting in pretty quick.
Breaking news right here on the River's Edge, yeah. I'm very excited about this venue. Because I am an important big shot in the Pittsburgh community, I was able to take a tour of the venue before the public, and I will say it's a really, really nice space. Can you tell me about it? It's right on Carson Street, so it's in a really great location, and it's really a cool space. I really enjoyed the tour. I don't know how much you're allowed to say.
Yeah, we can. We could be open about all of it now. It was great to have you down. We had a lot of the production companies and some of our good friends and family down there to check everything out. We're really excited about the stage at Karma. It's at 1713 East Carson Street on the south side. So it's a multi-room venue. So James Street was a great place, and it had a unique vibe. It had a lot of history to it. But one of the great things about it was the multi-room aspect of it. You have the speakeasy downstairs in the ballroom, which is you don't see that too often. That's the great thing here about at Karma. It's the same sort of setup. There's 2 rooms. So whenever you first walk in, there's a long bar, probably seats about 30 people, and there's a small stage there. We're going to be doing jazz jams on Sundays, karaoke on Tuesdays, open mic on Wednesdays. So those will be some of the slower days in the week. We'll keep everything in the smaller room. Now, whenever we have bigger events, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, to start booking national acts and things like that, we'll move that over into the bigger venue, which is a 350 capacity room. It has multiple levels. You have your big dance floor. There's like a VIP possibility area upstairs. So
I really like that, because I don't like to be with like the people. I like to be above.
Well, Brian thinks he's going to be in the VIP.
Yeah.
I got an invitation to view the place ahead of time. I feel like I may qualify.
It's not actually going to be a VIP, but we're going to tell people it's a VIP, so everybody will feel really special the whole time. Yeah. but yeah, we're really excited about it. It's a unique setup, and I can't wait for people to get down there and check it out.
So how did this come to be? How did you end up getting involved in this place at the stage of Karma?
So after James Street closed down, I looked at a large amount of venues. People have been calling me. I've been going and looking at all sorts of things and just looking for the next step in my life and my career. And a good friend of mine, TJ Harris, he owns BC1 Productions. He's been in the music scene for a long time, works a lot with a lot of DJs and things like that, but he's done a little bit of everything over the years. He contacted me and said, hey, man, you really got to go talk to Mike. He's the owner of Casey's, and the venue that we're in now is formerly Devils and Dolls. He owned that. He wanted to change things up. He wanted to go more in the music direction. He did music photography. He was a drummer. He just really wants to change, bring some culture to the South Side. He's like, you should talk to this guy. And so
he's from the South Side.
He's from there, born and raised. Yeah. And TJ's a good buddy of mine. I trusted him. Went down, talked to Mike, shook his hand, talked for a few minutes, saw the place, and fell in love right away.
What I really liked about this place, especially in that main room, well, not the room with the big bar, but the main room as far as for the music venue.
Yeah.
Is I really love the setup. They have the stage that's up higher, but then there's actually a spot even beyond that, so you could have even like a DJ up there and have like a dance area if you wanted. You have a green room you're going to be putting in behind the stage, and I really like that because I always like, for showman aspects, I think it's nice whenever a band can come from behind the stage instead of walking through the crowd or along the crowd. I think it creates a better visual presentation.
Yeah, this place just has a lot of amenities a lot of other places don't. For bands loading in, there's easy access and parking right in the back, which
is there?
Yeah, that's an incredible thing for you see what these streets are like out here. It's tough to find parking. That will never be an issue for anybody performing. You wheel your stuff right in, directly onto the stage or into a loading dock, and then there's green rooms there, there's bathrooms there. So you can feel totally comfortable and have your own area. And above the main stage, there's a DJ booth. So in between sets, you can have a DJ going. As soon as the headlining band's done, we aren't going to have to close and shut down like most music venues do at midnight. When the show's over, you go home. You can stay here until 2 a.m. every night. We're a live music venue that has a bar in it. So we'll be able to accommodate all types of events and times for events.
Yeah, that's great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a really cool space, and I'm excited about it. Where did you come up with the name Karma? I know you were throwing around a few different ideas.
So they closed down Devils and Dolls, and Mike just started building a stage with no game plan. He just wanted to build a stage, and he knew he wanted it to work out, and he just was excited, and they had to have an interim name. So they put Karma up on the wall, and he said, hopefully this is good karma, and and had a positive vibe on it for sure. And hopefully it was good karma that we all just kind of came together. We have a great GM there named Ken, and we just all stumbled upon each other more or less. So we were talking about a bunch of different names, and we were bouncing around ideas, but it was already up on the wall, and it looked good, and it felt right. So we decided to stick with Karma. All of the branding and everything's going to be the stage at Karma for all the music events.
And for those who are listening that are musicians, one of the nice things about this space is there is an area that you guys have designated in the main music room where people will be able to set up merch tables and things like that. And it's in a position where it's a prominent focus, like it's easy to see. It's not like some places where it's kind of like in the corner and you're not able to find it, but it's also out of the way. So it doesn't look like a flea market in the front of the stage. So I think that's one of the really nice aspects is that there is this designated spot for it. I think that will help for musicians who are coming and they want to try to make that extra money to pay their bills and things like that.
Yeah, that's another one of those bonuses of this place with all the diverse options. It could be a merch booth, or it could be a pop-up bar for us, or if we're doing a private event, it could be somewhere you're putting food. So this venue is very unique. I go to music venues and events all over the country and heck around the world even, and I've never seen a place set up like this. So it's very exciting.
I really was happy to see that it has high ceilings in that main room. That's one of the things that I liked about the ballroom. So I had this vision for the ballroom that I always wanted to have a New Year's Eve party, but because of my job, I pretty much have to work every holiday. And even this year, I was able to get New Year's Eve off, but I didn't find out that I was getting it off until I think it was like the week before or something, or a few weeks before, so there wouldn't have been time to plan the party that I wanted to. But I feel like you need high ceilings and a party feel to a New Year's party. You can't have like a smaller space with a low ceiling. And when James Street closed, I was really kind of bummed out because there is no other venue in Pittsburgh that I can think of, maybe Spirit, but there's really not many venues in Pittsburgh I could think of that could accommodate that vision I had for this New Year's party, but I feel like this place could accomplish that.
Well, if you're trying to book New Year's, karmapghbooking@gmail.com. You hit me up on there, and we could talk about some New Year's Eve parties. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It has a high ceiling. It's got a pretty cool shape, and you're right. It has a music venue vibe to it. Everybody that's been in there has really enjoyed it. So there's still some work to be done. We're going to be doing some more sound treatment and things like that. One thing I've learned in the music industry is every aspect of it is always a work in progress. So this will be the same. But we have tons of great lights in there. I mean, it is top notch. So for any sort of party or show, we definitely can accommodate in that room.
Yeah, and you could have multiple things going on at once, which is cool too. Were you worried when you closed James Street down that you would have a hard time finding the next right fit for you?
Yeah, I was. I was very particular. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I have a very unique niche that I've fallen into with how James Street's built in the 2 rooms and booking so many shows. The last year at James Street, I booked about 500 events, which has got to be up there towards the top of anybody in the city, I would imagine. So with the connections and what I've learned over the years doing that, I felt like I needed to do something similar. And just one big rectangle venue just wasn't what suits me. Mm-hmm. This place being the multiple rooms and being able to bounce back show to show, or do events where one band ends on one stage and back and forth and do little mini festivals. That's what I was looking for. And when I walked in here, I was glad I found it.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. I think it adds something different to the South Side that it doesn't already have with the existing venue. So I don't think there's going to be much of a conflict. Do you?
No, not at all. We won't be competition with the Rex or Club Cafe. They both do great things. Love both of those places there all the time. We're going to be very different than that. We're going to be more of an event space, a local music venue. Multimedia events, working with Red Fishbowl, doing like paint jams and things like that, and hopefully a fundraiser for the Millville Music Festival, fundraiser for the Doylestown Music Festival. We want to be way more in that sort of vein. We're going to have burlesque. We're going to have jazz. We're going to bring back the drag brunch. We want to be a different. We want to start a new cultural shift on Carson Street, away from the clubs.
It's nice to see some of that stuff that you were doing at James Street, such as the burlesque and the brunch and the jazz, moving over to the South Side, because that was one thing that I personally was really heartbroken over, was seeing James Street go, because there aren't a lot of jazz venues, at least not ones that are as well known. I've been told that if you're really in the scene, it's easy to find, but if you're not, I felt like James Street was one of those venues where if you weren't immersed in the jazz scene, it was still easy to find jazz there and go and listen to it. And that was one of the things I loved about James Street, because I would go there before I started the network. That was actually one of the places I went to all the time for music, for jazz, because I do love jazz. So I was excited to see that come back, that element, and it was fun to I ran into George Hyde when I was down there with you touring the place. another big shot of the music scene. You know, all of the top people were there, and it was great to see that, and it was great to know that that's coming back. And I think that that could really have an impact on the South Side, because to me, jazz is so counter to everything that the party atmosphere that you often see in the South Side.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to be the antithesis of what you think of when you think of Carson Street now.
Yeah.
We want to be a place where it is diverse as can be.
Blacks welcome here.
Everybody is going to be welcome here for sure. Because there's been a lot of things you hear popping up. You know, I see on social media all the time. We want to be a home to everybody, just like we were at James Street. Whether you're gay, whether you're straight, whether you're black, white, whatever you're yellow, whatever type of music you're into, whatever type of scene you're into, we want everybody to be at home. I mean, we've got nights already set up where we're going to have a swing band until 10 o'clock and then dubstep DJs until 2 a.m. So that's awesome. So it's going to be like James Street on steroids, more or less.
No, you didn't have any trouble getting interest in this venue. As soon as you mentioned it, people have been blowing you up. How many emails did you say you got?
Yeah, probably like 50 today.
50 today of people who want to have shows there. So that's got to mean something to you personally, because obviously nobody's heard of this place before. It's brand new. And right out of the bat, you get all of this interest. And I think that's really a credit to what you did at James Street. And that has to mean a lot to you, knowing that you built up this brand, or at least you've built up this level of respect to where people want to work with you and they're interested in coming to this new space.
Yeah, I mean,
You are the brand there.
I don't take it. I don't take it lightly at all. Like, I really appreciate it. And it does make me feel good to see the support that we've been getting. But you know, it's not just me. I mean, I work with Brando, who's our sound tech. Everybody says he's one of the best sound techs in the city. He is so professional. Worked with Dhruva Krishna. I met him. He was at CMU. He was booking some shows, did some stuff at James Street, and I was like, dude, I need you on board. And as soon as I could, I hired him on full time to help me with booking. I've learned a lot from the guys at Gray Area, and it's just so many people over the years that I've just taken all the best things that I've learned from everybody and worked with the best people that I can and the best quality musicians and artists, and it makes it a lot easier. Like, there's nothing that I'm really that good at besides knowing people that are good at everything.
Yeah. But isn't that the key to a lot of things? You know,
it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, well, I just look at the Millville Music Festival. It all started out when I started the Cal U Relay for Life, and it was a big fundraising event. That's what a Relay for Life is. It's a 24-hour fundraiser for cancer. And I told them I don't want anything to do with the money. Because at the time I just wasn't, I wasn't good at that. I'm better now. It's been, 10 years. But at the time, I wasn't good at keeping track of shit like that. So I just said, I want somebody to handle that aspect. I knew I wasn't good at it. And I put them in charge, and there were no issues. But with the music festival, you have different elements of the festival, and if you find the right people to handle different elements, and you just kind of are the glue that connects everything, that's an important job to have, though. People don't realize how important that is, because for a lot of people said, with the music festival, I thought of doing something like that. But they didn't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's another huge thing with what's happening here. Because at James Street, I was booking the shows, promoting the shows, running the shows, hiring the staff, working on the schedule, doing the beer order, covering the bar when somebody doesn't show up Sunday morning. They call you at 9:30 when they're supposed to be there at 9. I was doing all of that stuff. So that was what made it very tough. Here, I'm just focusing on booking shows and promoting them. So I'm going to focus on what I'm good at. Everybody else there is going to focus on what they're good at, and I think it's going to be a game changer, because it's going to afford me a lot more movement to do bigger and better things now.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. It's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to this venue. I think it's going to to be really cool. You'll have to check it out when they let the plebes in. You'll have to go check it out, Michael.
Right?
So it's going to be a good spot.
This Thursday, come on down. We're doing an open house this Thursday, 7 to 10.
So there you go.
I'll probably be there at your first open mic.
All right, there we go.
That'll be cool. So are you guys going to be? Are you planning on doing that? Bringing the open stage back?
Yeah, we actually are going to start the open stage
next
next Wednesday. Yeah, it's open stage. Anything. I believe January 17th. I believe
awesome.
Is next Wednesday. I think that's going to be the first open stage.
Okay.
17th. Well, then I'll be at the second one.
All right, deal.
I'm in DC for something that night.
Very cool.
Shopping.
Always shop. I'm just a compulsive shopper.
He is. He skipped like
Not
like
comedy.
how many weeks?
Also
He
comedy.
skipped multiple weeks to go Christmas shopping all across Pittsburgh. So,
No, I'm still stuck in the food service.
well, here's a question for you.
Holiday
Just
season is,
yeah,
Go on, Brett, what?
I understand. Here's a question for you regarding the new venue with James Street. You spent all this money on equipment there. Were you able to repurpose some of that for the new venue? Or?
You know what? Mike already had a full setup. I mean, he built a music venue in there, and it was ready to go. He actually all the sound in there is actually the altar bar's old sound.
Oh, really?
And the
Oh,
room,
that's interesting.
Yeah, and the room is half the size, so it is way more than enough sound for the room. It's going to be.
That's kind of cool. It's kind of got a piece of history in it as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, it sounds great in there.
And I'm excited. This venue is really just having toured it myself. There is a feel to it and a kind of energy to it that I feel is needed, because I was really heartbroken when Altar Bar closed. A lot of people were like, the sound, this or that, but there were certain bands that only came to Altar Bar, and you don't see them play anywhere else in the city, and I haven't seen them come back through. And James Street was kind of the same thing. There were some bands that they played at James Street, and you didn't see them other places. And I feel like this venue has like a feel to it. I think it's going to be something really special.
Yeah, it's got a unique size. Being able to put 300 people into a room, there's not another venue that size. Definitely not on the south side, and not too many other places in the city. So it's really going to afford us an opportunity to work with some bands that you might not have been seeing because there wasn't the right size room for them. This is going to open up that opportunity for a lot of bands.
Cool. Maybe we'll come in on Thursday and bring a video camera and create like a little virtual tour of the.
That'd be greatly appreciated.
So
that'd be fun.
that would be cool.
This Thursday?
It is.
This Thursday.
This
Yep,
Thursday.
7 to 10 is the little meet and greet.
What's the address again on Carson?
1713 East Carson.
It's
I'd be very
right
into that. They're super
next
fun.
to Jimmy John's. I knew that because I came down there. I hadn't eaten, and again it was super super cold when I came down to visit, and I ran in there and grabbed something to eat before I came over. Actually, that was a really rough day because we had a Millville Music Minute that night, and I forgot that you had messaged me Wednesday, and I saw and I looked back through my calendar, and I'm like, oh, that's right, I got to do that too. So I came to visit you. Came home, I slept for like 2 hours, had to come here for the Millville Music Minute, and then go back to work. I think the next day I slept for like probably 6 hours. I didn't sleep that much the next day.
You better take New Year's off this year for sure. Let's book a party.
Yeah. This year we're definitely, I want to do it. Well, this year I should not have any issues at all. I should hopefully I'll be working here full time by that point. But if not, I at least should be converted at work, and I won't be working those crazy hours anymore. So should be good. Kevin Saftner, everybody, you're welcome to stay if you'd like as we roll into the weird news. But if you got to roll, I understand as well.
Time for bed. I got to get up early tomorrow and start sending emails.
Dude, it sounds like you're busy as all right.
If that's the case, then we're going to take a quick break for promos and say goodbye to Kevin. So thank you so much for Kevin Saftner, the manager of...
Yeah, I'm a venue manager and booking agent.
Venue manager and booking agent at the Stage at Karma, which is on Carson Street in the South Side. They have a viewing this Thursday, or not a viewing. That sounds kind of weird.
Yeah, that sounds a little morbid.
However, if you're into viewings,
if you're ever unfortunate enough to have to attend a viewing,
you definitely want to make sure you hit up the only family-owned funeral home in Millville, Hahn's Funeral Home, known for green burials. They're the only family-owned funeral home here in Millville, and they can handle all of your viewing needs. Up next, we've got the weird news. Hopefully we can put an end and a death to the cold weather. We'll send the cold to Hahn's Funeral Home. No, I wouldn't want to do that. Poor Jamie would be freezing if that were the case. Hopefully the cold will need a funeral home. That's what I'm saying. And we're going to try to take care of that next, right here on River Talk on the River's Edge Radio Network.
that started as the smoothest plug and then deteriorated so hard.
And then died.
I got to tell you.
Yes, send it to Hans.
A small local business located right here in Millville. I got my hair colored there about 2 weeks ago, and I still can't stop staring at myself. They use this awesome new technique called color melting to make me look like a mermaid. But don't worry, if mermaid hair isn't your thing, they'll meet all your hair goals. With things like balayage, rose gold, unicorn hair, ombre, as well as monochromatic color, which is your standard basic coloring. Seriously, they do it all, and they do it good. Check Salon 22 out on Facebook and mention this ad when you make your appointment to receive a free color lock service to help preserve your color. It's a $20 value for free. I'm not kidding. Book your appointment now by calling 412-822-7222. That's 412-822-7222.
Well, go! It's green! Come on! Go!
God damn it, Brian. You need to calm down with the road rage.
I'm sick of these people, these assholes.
The road rage, man. You gotta calm down on the road rage.
Well, I want to get to where we're going. We have a lot of great stuff coming up. We're going to Falling Water,
Bicycle Heaven,
the Mattress Factory,
Knob,
Trundle Manor. All right, which way do I go? Which way do I go? Come on,
right,
come on.
Right.
Too late now.
Right, come on.
Well, too late now. I gotta keep going. I'm not gonna sit here like some asshole.
Oh, come on, man.
All right, you're listening to the Culture Cruise. You can find us at riversedgepgh.com.
Your local Pittsburgh area museum podcast.
Yes, riversedgepgh.com, and come take a ride with us.
Hi, I'm Rob Spear, host of Damn Near Killed Him, an interview show where anything goes.
Once they gave it to me, you could have stuck a telephone pole up my ass.
I was about to be kicked out of the country.
That's where they send the worst of the worst.
In a psych ward, normal things seem so weird in there.
He was making $5,000 a month doing gay audiobooks.
Hear some stories from people who have been to the edge and back Thursday morning at 9 a.m. on riversedgepgh.com or download on iTunes.
I mean, that's some pretty cool shit.
The Double L Bar, Grant Avenue, Millville, Pennsylvania, reminding you that you're listening to the River's Edge Radio Network. Welcome back to the River's Edge Radio Network. Thanks for sticking with us. We have not one, not two, but three weird stories here to keep the Mon Monster at bay, where Michael and I will save the city of Pittsburgh from complete and total destruction by entertaining this beast. The first story I have here is an interesting one. It's about a giant treehouse, and it's a really a fantastic treehouse that these people built in Florida. And it's like a treehouse that somebody could actually live in. Oh, it's an actual house. Nice, you got to check it out. It's globalnews.ca. And basically, the government of Florida is trying to get them to tear down the treehouse.
No, why?
It cost them $30,000 to construct the treehouse. And it says here, Lynn Tran and Richard Hazen built a Florida beachfront treehouse that would be the envy of any child. It has 2 levels, hammocks, and windows looking out on the Gulf of Mexico. So they're living on the right side of Florida as well. Just the water's warmer over there. But Hangout, the Hangout has cost the couple a handsome sum of about $30,000 to construct, and probably 5 times that in legal fees as they fought local authorities over it.
What's the issue?
Trans said now that they're at their last stop, the Supreme Court, probably local ordinances, because you can't just build. Go look at the Baronhof. Listen to the first episode of the Culture Cruise, the Baronhof, and you'll hear similar things where people will just build stuff not following code or even getting approval. So it's probably a situation like that. But they are headed to the Supreme Court now of the United States to determine whether they can keep their treehouse or not. I hope they're able to, because I feel like this is pretty fantastic.
I mean, that's the thing is, if it's on your property, who the fuck is the state to tell you can't have that? You know what I mean?
Well,
yeah, but the property's part of the state.
Well, it's you own the property. I agree with Michael on that side, but on the flip side, looking at the Baronhof, for example, which is a fantastic museum in Sharpsburg.
I've been there twice.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you know.
2 different tours.
Okay. Did they tell you about his construction plans up there?
Oh, he did them secretly behind the backs of the inspectors often.
Yeah, he would just do it, and he wouldn't get approval. But you know about the lake, right?
No.
Okay, so the Baronhof, he built this house, which is fantastic. I've gone there so many times, and different docents will tell you different things. But he was then building a castle on the other side of his property, and the castle was not for him to live in, but it was for writers and artists to live in for free to get inspiration. But in between the two, he was building a man-made lake, and he was going to have a walkway to the middle of the lake, and then you could travel inside the lake into a lower level where he would have a bar, so you could drink in the middle of the lake. And he was building that lake, and then they came in and forced him to tear it down because he lived on top of a hill, and if something happened, it would flood the town below.
Oh, God, that's
so
true.
There are reasons why you can't just do whatever the hell you want on your property.
Well,
I don't know that this treehouse is going to, if it falls apart, I don't know if it's going to hurt anybody.
That's what I guess I meant. Is I'm looking at this picture, and it's a treehouse. It's not a coalslurry, receptacle or whatever uphill from a elementary school like in Marsh Fork, Virginia, or West Virginia, right? It's a treehouse.
This treehouse reminds me of the treehouse that Randy and I were talking about building. So my co-host for the Culture Cruise and I, we often talk about what we would do if we were extremely wealthy. We all, both of us, live well beyond our means, and it can be very troublesome. And Randy and I had talked about at one point purchasing the rainforest. And the idea was we would purchase the rainforest to stop poachers from, or not poachers, but to stop deforesters from coming in and destroying the rainforest. We would we would save the world by buying the rainforest, but we would only take one piece. We would damage one piece of the rainforest for ourselves, but it would be such a small part. But in comparison, we would save the rest of it. And what we would do is we would build a giant treehouse similar to this, but it would be complete with a helicopter pad.
Nice.
So we could fly into our treehouse from outside of the rainforest. And then we would hire like a militia or something to keep people from destroying the rainforest on the perimeters. But we wanted to buy it to save the world. So we would leave it all the way it is and protect the world, but we would just build that one treehouse in the middle so we could have a secluded lair.
If you want to see the illest tree houses in the rainforest, the BBC, Planet Earth. Well, number one, Planet Earth 2 just came out. It's on Netflix. It's amazing. But also, they have all these different series, right, that are like Blue Planet and this and that. And they have one called Humans.
Oh, wow.
And it's how humans live close to the Earth in all different parts of the world. And one of them is these people who live in tree houses like hundreds of feet off the ground in the rainforest.
Wow.
It's nuts. It's fantastic.
Crazy. I think that would be cool to live in a treehouse as long as it has air conditioning.
They do not have air conditioning.
Ooh, yeah, no, my treehouse would have.
I don't think they have deodorant as well, which might be a break.
That's
for you.
a break for me. Yeah,
you're a stickler for deodorant.
I'm a big fan of deodorant. Yeah, This is what separates us from
careful what you
other
say
places.
Next.
I was gonna say places like France.
I would love to live in France right now.
I wouldn't because they don't have air conditioning. Not air conditioning. They don't wear deodorant.
Do you know what your job would be like if you lived in France? You'd work 35 hours a week, make twice as much as you do now, and have 3 weeks of paid vacation.
Yeah, but nobody wears deodorant. To me, I'd rather work that extra few hours to get deodorant.
It's the difference between you and me.
Yeah. So that's my story. You have a weird news story for us?
So Brian, I think it's a given at this point that we're all going to be zipping around in self-automated cars in the near future, wouldn't you say? Probably.
Yeah, I'm not very thrilled with the idea.
Would you ever want to get in a mean-looking car? Have you ever thought about the fact that the car you get in might look downright rude?
No, I never would have considered that.
You ever look at the front of cars and think that's a fucking mean-looking car? Like the face in the front of the car, with the eyes.
I've never thought mean.
The grill's looking like teeth, and then the eyes are well.
I will say I hate when people decorate their cars.
Studies are being done right now showing, and companies that are making self-driving cars are intentionally thinking that they may need to make the automated cars look friendlier.
Okay.
Look nice. And Google Waymo, the face of the car will look...
So it has it almost looks like a cartoon character.
Cute as a button. Yep.
I hate it.
See, because we've got that is an angry looking car.
I like that. So we're looking at two different cars. We remember nobody can see this. So
no, I know.
We're looking at two different cars. The one car he's showing me is what model was that?
We're looking at a 2017 Nissan Versa, and it's not the angriest car, but here we've got a Mazda that has these elongated. Angry looking eyes.
But to me, that's stylish. So this one has a longer hood to it. There's another one. It looks really, really sleek. What's that one called?
This is the
Mercedes.
Mercedes F015 Luxury in Motion. Oh, it's a concept car, but yeah, it has no face on it. It looks
like
creepy.
that.
It has no eyes.
It's very sleek. It looks
Where
like a
are
bullet.
its eyes?
I really like that. The one that he's showing me, the self-driving car, I hate. It looks stupid.
Oh, it looks like a little bug, but even cuter.
I don't want my car to look cute.
It's adorable. What it looks like is like it's not gonna maul you. Right? It looks like if you're a pedestrian,
I want my car to look
not
like
just an unattended 2,000-pound death machine hurtling down the street.
That's exactly what I want my car to look like, because I want people to get the hell out of the way.
What do you think of this? Let me take a look. Isn't that cute? That would never kill anyone.
That looks like the.
I want my car to look like it would kill someone.
It does. It looks like it looks like a prey car.
It is the poodles of cars.
Well, that is the Google Waymo.
The Google Waymo. So that is something that I will never buy. It just looks like I don't like it. See, I want my car to look like it's going to kill someone. I want people to be. I want pedestrians to be afraid to walk in front of me. However, I was walking the other day out down in Oakland, so we went to the museum the other day.
Oh, see, I just bought a Toyota Yaris. This thing does not. It's almost the red version of this. Actually, it's so cute.
Well, I was walking through Oakland the other day, going to the museum, talking about cars that look mean or pedestrians not getting out of the way. Well, it had the red hand up that said don't go, but I go if there's no one coming or if they have a red light. I look, they have a red light. I'm going. I'm just about 1 foot onto the sidewalk, and some guy starts going and giving me this look, and he's like, so I start walking up to his car, and he you could see a look of fear in his eyes, because he's like, holy shit, this guy's crazy, because I'm just walking off the sidewalk onto the street.
If you're nothing else, Brian, crazy.
I'm crazy, yeah. So he took off, but...
Batshit crazy.
Yeah, but I'm just like, who in the hell are you giving me an attitude? It'd be one thing if I was in the middle of the street when his light turned green, but I was basically off the street at that point, and he's giving me flack. So, yeah, I just walked up to his car. Did I ever tell the story about the time I was downtown in the cultural district and got into a fight with someone in a similar situation? No.
No, but this doesn't surprise me at all. Go on.
So I'm down in the cultural district, and
I'm intrigued but not shocked.
I'm driving downtown, and there's a bus in front of me, and we're coming to an intersection. And the bus goes through, and all of a sudden I see the light is changing red. I didn't realize I couldn't see the light because the bus was there. So I stop, and the crosswalk's here. My car, the front of my car is just a little bit in the crosswalk, but not covering the crosswalk, and it's because I didn't want to blow the light. So I was trying to do the right thing, and I didn't want to blow the light or be in the middle of the cross. So I stopped right there. This guy's walking by, and he taps on the hood of my car.
Ooh.
As he walks through. So I got out of my car. Well, I'm parked. I said, who the fuck do you think you are? And he yells back to me, you're in the crosswalk, whatever. And I said, yeah, because I couldn't see the light. So I'm yelling at this guy. And then his wife starts chiming in too. And I said, you shut your mouth too. Both of them, I'm yelling at them.
Wait, where was this? This is the strip district?
In the cultural district downtown.
Okay, because
a play just
here's the
let
thing.
out.
If that lady had not chimed in, that could have easily been my father. But my mother would never get involved in something like that. So I was about to be like, oh my God, Brian, you had a fight with my dad.
So yeah, the two people down there, I'm yelling at them. And luckily, I had somebody in the passenger seat who's just freaking out because I'm literally out of the car. I got out of the car and shut the door. But if he wasn't in there, I would have ran across the street. I would have gotten in that guy's face. You don't touch someone else's car. Who the hell touches someone else's car like that?
Only as an act of aggression. I've certainly done that, and it is strictly an act of aggression.
Yeah, and it'd be one thing if I was in the middle the whole way through the crosswalk, or I was trying to go while someone was walking. But I was trying to follow the rules. I was trying to.
I had some guy freak out on me because I was halfway in the crosswalk on my bike the other day. He's like, it's the crosswalk, and makes this huge thing of walking way out of the crosswalk, even though he didn't have to walk around me. And I'm like, it's a bike. It's not just going to take off. I'm not going to accidentally hit you.
Yeah.
From a standing position.
And that's the thing. Where I was at in this crosswalk, there was plenty of room to even get around my car. It wasn't like I was covering the crosswalk. So this guy's an asshole, and I hope he listens to this show, and I hope that he realizes the bitch he is because he ran away. He ran away from me. Old asshole. What a jerk. Both of them are assholes. And I hope that one day maybe one day he's in a car and somebody, I don't know, throws down a few nails and he gets a flat tire.
Someone hucks a burrito at his windshield on
that
the
would be
highway.
great.
Like cow.
That would be fantastic. So my last story is something that I thought was actually kind of interesting, and I usually don't jump into sports at all, but this was really, really cool. This quarterback, his name is Marcus Mariota, and he plays for the Tennessee Titans, and he went to throw. It was in the playoffs against the Kansas City Chiefs, and he goes to make a pass, and he throws the ball, and someone from the Chiefs jumps up to intercept it, and instead of catching the ball, it deflected off their hands and came back to Mariota, who caught the ball and ran for a touchdown. So he literally caught his own pass. He was the quarterback and the receiver and got a touchdown. It was the first time, I believe, in the history of the NFL where the quarterback caught his own touchdown pass in the playoffs. And it's pretty amazing to see it. Like, it was literally like the reaction was great. His instincts were, it was just like boom, boom. And because he ran far enough that he was past the line of scrimmage, it counted, and he was able to make that play.
That's incredible.
Part of me hopes that they go like all the way to the Super Bowl just because that's super badass. So and that's my my third weird story for the day. So the Mount Lebanon deer crisis. You're familiar with the Mount Lebo deer crisis, correct?
Vaguely. Is it the same
Vaguely.
deer crisis that's everywhere that humans encroach on? Or
Well, this deer crisis has been going on for a while in Mount Lebanon. Basically,
This
there's
one happens in a rich neighborhood.
Yes, and there are people who are angry because the deer are eating their shrubbery and things like that, and they want to kill the deer. And then there's and they claim it's vehicle safety issues. But then there's other people who are like radical on the other side, and they don't want any deer killed. And they're out there. They were out there. They created death camps first off at one point. They had created death camps to lure the deer in to shoot them, and they spent an obscene amount of money. Instead of like using the police or like hunters or things like that, they decided to bring in this outside company that literally created like deer death camps, and they would lure them into these like contraptions and shoot them. Well, it failed miserably. First off, there were people out there with noisemakers and smells and things like that to scare the deer away. And then even the ones that didn't, like I think they only got a few deer. It was a huge disaster. And then
that's the kind of chaos that gives me such a boner. I don't know why I get a chaos boner for stuff like that, but when it's just like some town trying to like reel in like nature running amok all over them, and then like some human just runs in and makes things so much worse, and you just have because here's the thing: whatever contractor they hired to trick deer into death camps and shoot them, like that's not what that contractor does normally, and whatever they do normally is also horrific.
Probably.
like you don't hire good people are not the people you think of to tackle something like that.
No, definitely
like it's probably
not.
like G4S or like what some local like Pittsburgh Blackwater or something like that.
Well, they ended up doing
local like taxidermy people. Hey, how do you get a lot of deer in here? And then follow that trail.
Hunters.
Also,
exactly.
while I'm on that, as a footnote, G4S, which is the same security company that that Giant Eagle and by extension Gecko use, are also the security company that is used in the West Bank and Gaza Strip.
Oh, wow.
These folks are everywhere, and they're people to keep an eye on because that's sketchy.
That is crazy. Well, they're going into their second run of these deer killings in Mount Lebanon, and they changed tactics, and we had covered the update because it was so badass. Mount Lebanon hired a team of sharpshooters and archers to go in and slay the deer. And
the town I grew up in, they legalized bow hunting deer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as a response.
Well, hunting is not a bad thing, especially in Pennsylvania. Well, especially in Pennsylvania because we've killed off all of the deer's natural predators.
Yeah.
So if we don't hunt, we're the only predators left. And people act like we're monsters for going out and killing deer, but if you look at the way the state law is set up, is you're only allowed to kill so many deer. It's not like you can just go in and slay all the deer in the forest.
Sure.
It's pretty controlled, and it's done for a reason. And the thing is if you don't hunt the deer and kill them that way, in Pennsylvania, they will die from starvation because they will overpopulate because there's no one out there to kill them.
No, totally.
Some of their natural predators...
Also, they're delicious.
They are very good, yeah. And a lot of their predators are coming back, but it's not nearly enough to handle
that'd be
the population.
fantastic. We could just reintroduce wolves to the area and not have people freak out.
Yeah, well, there are some of those types of predators coming back, and I know we've seen like
Mountain lions.
Yes,
we need more mountain lions. We need more wolves,
and they will I'm trying to think what the department it is, but the state will decline or deny that there are any mountain lions in Pennsylvania. But I know people who have seen them, and they are here. Or it's bobcats, rather. I think that. I
think that's actually the same thing.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure that's just local vernacular for the same animal.
Okay, so but they're here in the area, and I've actually seen a black bear in person before out in the wild, which was interesting.
Nice. Yeah, I saw one of those when I lived in North Carolina in the Great Dismal Swamp. We went hiking, and we accidentally followed a. Well, I mean, there are not a lot of paths through the Great Dismal Swamp.
Yeah,
and so we were hiking on the same trail that a black bear was ahead of us, and so we were hiking slowly to allow it to remain far ahead of us.
Okay.
But we essentially followed a black bear for miles.
Well, we were out at Camp Conestoga, which is the Boy Scout camp reserve out in Westmoreland County? No, Somerset County. It's out that way. It's out there. So we're there and we're driving into camp, and there are black bears there all the time. Like every time I would ever go to camp, I'd go there every year. And every year there was black bear sightings during the camping trip, and they would just say, make sure your food, because there are ways to prepare your food that a black bear won't smell it or be able to get to it, and they'll leave. And they would always warn you to do that because they were there. You're out in the woods, and it's their home that you're coming into. But one time we're driving, and there was a baby black bear on the side of the road. And the one scout who was with me, he was a younger scout, he had said that, we should stop and look at this. And I'm like, hell no. I wouldn't be terrified of a black. I mean, obviously you don't want to be around a black bear in general, but the baby, to me, I'm telling him, I'm like, the baby is more terrifying to me than the other black bears.
There's a mad mom running.
There's a mad mom running around somewhere, and if you get between the mother and the baby, you're toast.
Yeah. Yeah, but I saw one in Asheville once, too. We were at a friend's wedding, and they had rented a cabin. And I came outside, and the door closed behind me, and I look, and there's one at the trash cans. It was like 30 feet from me tops. And one of my friends was on balcony. He was, hey, do you? And I just go, yo. And I made some non-words and just gestured. And he looks, oh my God, and runs inside to get his camera. And I was like, thanks.
Wow.
Because the door locked, it was basement, it was locked behind me, and I had to run up and around the porch. I mean, they're not a hostile creature, but still, it was.
That would be terrifying. I know my grandfather, a story my dad told me about a black bear. Then we'll get back to the deer, I promise. Yeah. But he was out hunting, and I guess he told my dad to stand here on the other side of the thicket. He said, I'll go back in and scare the deer and scare them out. And instead, my grandfather comes running out without his gun, and he's like, run, there's a black bear! And the black bear was following him.
Oh my God.
But he survived.
Yeah.
And there was an island I went to once as a child. My aunt took me to, and this is the example of what happens if you don't deal with the deer population. There's this island down south. I can't remember where it was at, somewhere near the Carolinas in that area. But the deer will literally walk up to you. They will eat food out of your hand. They have no fear of people because the place is so overpopulated with deer that they have nowhere else to go.
Oh, they're just starved. And
yeah, you could literally pet the deer as they come up because they just, it's completely changed the way that they interact with people because they don't allow hunting anywhere on that island. So it's not a bad practice.
I wonder if that's Ocracoke.
I can't remember. It's been so long since I've been there.
Island.
There was a lighthouse on the island. I know that much. So if that helps, I don't know. But anyways, they had talked originally about sterilizing the deer, catching the deer, and castrating them.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
And that was their plan at one point to solve the deer crisis. Well, here...
Humans are so perverse.
Well, they thought that was...
You can't kill them, but we can kidnap them and castrate them.
And for some reason, that was the animal rights people were more advocating that over killing them.
Of course.
And I remember saying on the show at one point, if you're going to castrate me, you might as well just kill me.
It really is funny that the layers that we will and won't apply, of humanity that we will and won't apply to other animals, where it's wrong to kill it for food, But essentially, eugenics is like A-OK.
Yeah.
Right?
It's crazy.
It's like, I guess you got to draw the line somewhere, and everyone's different.
Well, they forbid it here in Mount Lebanon.
Kidnapping and castration, A-OK.
A-OK.
Eating for food, nah, man.
Well, they forbade it in Mount Lebanon, but there is a town in Detroit, out in Michigan, that is actually doing this practice.
Okay, I wish it was a town in Detroit. I would love to go hunting deer in an urban environment.
Well, you know what? There's probably some places in Detroit that are so abandoned that they are probably overrun by animals. It's possible.
Leading back to that, was it Planet Earth 2? I was just watching the last episode of it.
The cities one. The cities one is so good.
They did an episode on cities as like an environment that animals are starting to adapt to, and that one's fascinating.
That would be interesting.
Speaking of hunting deer in cities,
I imagine you could go to some of these cities and have rat hunts. Like they probably have giant overbearing rats.
New York in particular. No,
Hawks
actually,
in New York.
Yeah, Hawks is big. Actually, wild animal populations in urban areas is one of my favorite fields of study, and I've watched a lot of different documentaries. My favorite one on it is called Raccoon Nation, and it's about the raccoon population in Toronto, which has one of the longest running raccoon populations, and so they've been there for, I think, like a dozen generations or something, where their breeding has actually started selecting for more urban skill sets and more urban physiques. And so like being able to chase down prey in an urban environment is not that important, but having the neuroplasticity to learn to undo various different latches and how to like problem solve and puzzles and stuff is important. And so Toronto is essentially breeding ultra intelligent raccoons.
Wow.
However,
put in a fight 1v1 with one of those forest ones.
However, well, okay, so the forest one would win with physical brute, and the urban ones are actually suffering from obesity, tooth decay, and heart problems already.
Wow.
Brutal.
Horrible.
They have these shots of these like obese raccoons just like chilling on rooftops because they figured out how to open all the trash cans in the alley directly below them. So what do they do now?
That's insane. I know. So that's interesting. The geese here, like I would like to find like I wish like we treated the geese the same way we treat the deer in Pittsburgh.
Just hunt them with baseball bats.
We could get we can hire Mount Lebanon's team of sharpshooters and archers. That would be like a spectacle because all of the geese live on the north side, and it's that big open area, and you could just see like a militia come in and just.
As long as you shot towards the river, it'd be pretty safe.
But if you shoot away from the river, it can make it more fun.
I like the north side. The north side's my favorite.
Well, no, I don't mean into the neighborhoods, but I mean if you shoot it this way, you could have like, I don't know. I don't know what you would
we'll
do.
just pick up Northsiders, take them to a camp, and castrate them, right? That's
what you were getting to, wasn't it, Brian?
No, it is not. No, I do like the north side. I like, especially, that's why one of the reasons why I said about the James Street closing is I especially like a lot of the neighborhood type places in there. I like the places like James Street and Max's and Lindo's, which is a diner down there. Max's is another tavern. I like those places like better than like the corporate places that are down there, if that makes sense. Like,
the Victory Grill, which is my favorite breakfast joint, just closed recently, actually.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, her sister, Tina's sister, the one that ran the pizza shop next door, passed away, and then Tina was running both of them, and so that was too much for her. So she closed it.
So you agree with me that the castrating deer is not a good alternative?
I mean, it's a fine one, but it's silly. You know what I mean? You should just hunt them and eat them. You should hunt them and give them to the shelters to cook for food.
I agree.
Like, there's no reason not to.
So we'll end on this note. Everyone knows that there's all this lead in the water, and the PWSA is giving tests out to let people see if they have lead in their water, and apparently no one is using the tests. Very few. Some
yeah, we have one sitting in our kitchen, but we also have a baller water filter, so we've just never used it.
Yeah. Well, what kind of water filter do you have? Do you have one that filters out lead? Because
I have the Aquasana, which is actually motorized because it's a much denser filter. So you like put it in the pitcher and then you attach the pitcher to the basin. It's like it sounds like a freaking blender.
Wow.
And then it fills up the other pitcher.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So
best birthday present I've been given.
That is pretty cool. Yeah. I would like to get a filter at some point, but yeah, they say it's based on communities. Like certain communities have a very high level of testing, and other communities do not. But my question is, do you really trust the PWSA to give you lead testing equipment? I mean, we are talking about a government that literally went out of its way to mislead people on the water crisis in Pittsburgh, and in a health department that has literally just come up with fake news to cover their own asses. So, like, I even wonder, like, do I trust the tests that the PWSA are giving out to test the lead in the water? I don't know. I feel like they could be. I feel like they if any organization. I'm not accusing them of anything. I'm just stating the point that if any organization out there were to give you misleading testers, it would be the PWSA.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I wanted to leave us on that note. I don't know. I don't know what the right solution is. Do they sell testers that you could buy at the store? Like,
probably,
because I think I would go that route. I don't know if I would try. I hate to say it, but I don't know if I would trust their tests. They've gone out of their way to kind of bury this story, and I think people coming back with positive test results for lead in their water would not do anything to curb people's interest in this lead situation.
I mean that's the other thing is what are they offering? Like if you send it back to them, you're like, yeah, I've got fucking lead in my water.
Probably just
cool, bro. Thanks for that info.
Yeah.
Good looking out.
Probably one of those. Probably one of the filters that they used as a Band-Aid, which they ran out of filters too. They don't even have enough filters.
Well, weren't they sending out crappy ones? Weren't they sending out like essentially Britas anyway?
Were they really?
I don't know.
I thought they were sending out filters that were specific to lead.
Oh, then maybe they were. Who knows?
They were sending out name brand Brita filters. Not bad.
I don't know.
More than I expected out of them.
God damn. All right. Now I'm spreading fake news now. Sorry. Let me dial that back.
All right. No fake news here. Only the highest level of journalistic integrity on River Talk. So, what do you have coming up?
I got two things this week. So, Tuesday, I am almost always on the monthly Brillo Box show with Gab Benesso. And this month, after pretty much a full year of being on that show regularly, it's become my home stage. I'm going to be hosting.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Very cool. I will be hosting the Brillo Box show on Tuesday, and tomorrow night I'm going to be on Krish Mohan's podcast, Taboo Table Talk.
Fantastic.
We're going to be talking about anarchism, collectives, and identity politics.
Very cool. It's a good show. I was on that show recently.
Yeah. So. No, I mean, Krish is a brilliant comic who I've had the privilege of opening for a number of times recently.
Yeah, you guys went on a tour, didn't you? Or
We've done a couple of out of town shows, not actually back to back shows, constituting a tour yet. But we're gonna do a small string of them at the beginning of March. So yeah, no, I'm thrilled to be doing that.
Very cool. So you can check that out as we get more information. We will.
Yeah, and apparently you can catch me on Thursday night touring.
Oh yes,
touring Karma with you.
Yeah, that'll be fun. So, I will be there for the second time.
Oh, actually, Saturday evening, 10 p.m. Hambones, 51st Jokes. The Pittsburgh comedy community gathers to each of 50 comics gets 1 minute to show off their first new joke of 2018.
Very cool. I like it.
I will be on that as well.
Awesome. So you can check out all of that stuff. I will not be back until next Sunday, but we may be doing some weekly throughout the week things as well. So stay tuned for some of that stuff. But until next time, this has been Michael Cohen. I am Brian Crawford. This has been River Talk, and you're listening to the River's Edge Radio Network, Pittsburgh's voice for local music. And if you're listening to Monday morning, we've got local music right next. So do not change the station. Great local music right here on the River's Edge.